Good morning, Kisma. How are you today?
I'm well, thanks. How is everyone out there in Viewerland? We are officially live. And today is what? Today's July 6th,
Yes,
and it's our Art Talk.
Art Talk today.
Art Talk today, and it's an exciting one. I'll let you, well, first of all, before we go to our special guest we have here today, how was your 4th of July? You don't celebrate 4th of July, right, Lauren? Because
We celebrate July the 1st
oh, tell us why. Why?
because it's Canada Day.
Oh, so that's like your Independence Day, or what does that mean?
Well, it's just the day that we celebrate all the wonderful things in Canada.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, we celebrate, of course, it's America's huge national holiday. July 4th is. The whole country like goes crazy, literally
Right.
crazy. There's fireworks and all that kind of stuff. And it's my birthday. It was my birthday, July 4th. So whoop, yes, I'm a firecracker. So anyway, I wanted to just say something about the fact that it's July already. We are halfway through 2023.
Yeah,
That's
it's
pretty,
crazy.
that's amazing to me. I mean, how fast this year has flown.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking, a group of us on the 4th, because the whole neighborhood comes out and we do a parade and everything. And we were talking about how we're just going to be taking down all of the 4th of July red, white, and blue decorations, and we're just going to immediately put up the Christmas decorations because it's going to be here so quickly. Anyways, it's weird. Life is weird. We just enjoy it. So welcome, viewers coming in. We're so excited that you're here. Don't forget that if you are following, you follow my channel, Visionary Artist Path, that you have the chat, and you are very welcome at any time during today's episode to post questions to our special guest. And I'm going to turn it over right now. I'm going to turn it over to Lauren so that Lauren can talk all about our special guest.
Well, it's my pleasure today to introduce Kristin Tweedale, aka ruKristin, who is a feminist scrapbooker and the awesome lady behind the Awesome Ladies Project, a feminist scrapbooking community that teaches women how to use photos, pretty paper, words, and bits of life to tell their amazing stories. She recently founded the Feminist Scrapbook School, a place for thoughtful humans to level up their scrapbooking and storytelling skills with an intersectional feminist lens. If you want to learn how to tell your story in a way that works for you and your life, it's the place to be. She also hosts the weekly Crafty Ass Female podcast, the only feminist scrapbooking show on the planet, talking to people about the different ways they document their lives. She's a self-professed total TV snob living in East Lansing, Michigan, with her partner Jeff and their heirloom tomato garden. Let's welcome Kristin Tweedale to the studio.
Hi, friends.
Hi, Kristin.
Hi, Kristin.
Are you Kristin? That's what you like to go by, right?
You can call me Kristin. It's totally cool. We can jump into a story about why that's my name at some point.
That's up to Lauren. Lauren's leading off.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us how that came about. I'm very curious about that.
It's a little bit silly. So I've always been on the internet since the AOL used to send out the discs in the mail to people. That's when I've been online. So I've always had an online presence. I've did, LiveJournal, MySpace, all of those things. And when I went away to college, my first year of college at Rutgers University, I took a women's and gender studies class, and we had to do a big project at the end where we expressed who we now were as essentially feminists, but more people who have gone through this semester of women's and gender studies. And my final project was to create a blog about all the things that were going on in the world that would be interesting to a college, new feminist. And blogging was huge at that time. So it was fantastic. It was wonderful. And that blog, I just grabbed the Blogspot blog, and it's like, what do you want to name yourself? And I was like, okay, well, this is a project for school. So I'm just going to go with my school's name, Rutgers University, and then my first name. And then eventually I started posting my scrapbooking projects because they are, part of my feminist art. And that is where my life led me. So ruKristin is my handle on everything now. And it is lowercase, entirely lowercase on purpose, because Bell Hooks, who is an amazing, incredible writer, keeps her name all lowercase. So that's a nod to Miss Bell Hooks.
That's really sweet. And here's what's so funny. Well, I don't know if it's funny, but when I first met her, I said ruKristin, because in my mind I was thinking of Piglet and Roo from Winnie the Pooh, and so I immediately went to that pronunciation of it. But that's so awesome. I love your name. I love your name.
Yeah, it's very unique. So let's just dive in, Kristin, and can you tell us about your artistic journey?
Yeah, I can. I've always been a creative kid, summer camp creative, do art classes in grade school. And then I am one of those people that will make things a little bit more complicated if it's going to be fun for me. So we had a project in English class. I think this was my sophomore year of English. And we had an amazing teacher. We had a really great class, small. And one of our assignments was to read the Miracle Worker about Helen Keller, and then create some type of primary document that would have existed during that time. And so I went to the craft store, I found all the scrapbooking stuff, and I made a Helen Keller scrapbook. And then I never stopped going to the scrapbook aisle. That was it. That was it for me. I scrapbooked all through high school. I started teaching scrapbooking in high school at the local adult night school, which was awesome. And then in college, I worked at my local scrapbook store where every Saturday night that was what I did in college. Every Saturday night, I would go to the scrapbook store at about 5 o'clock, and I'd come home at about 1 a.m. And it was so great. I had the best, I was not even 21 at the time. And everybody else at the store was clearly older because, that's not necessarily the place that, the 20-year-olds hang out on Friday nights, or Saturday nights rather. But it was so awesome because I got to do my art. We always ordered in like a really good dinner, and that was my treat for like actually doing the work during the week, was that I got to get in my car, drive a couple of blocks over, and go and scrapbook with my friends. And so after college, I started to get these really bad headaches. My senior year of college, I started to get these really bad headaches every day. And they sucked. They are just like awful. They're terrible. I went to a bunch of different doctors, and no one had any answers for me for a really long time. So this period of my 20s was me going out and having a real job for a little while, and realizing that that was not compatible with my health. And while I had my real job and in college, I had been making a little bit of money on the side, selling little art classes, putting together scrapbook kits. And when I was stuck on the couch with like just chronic pain, I was able to, make ends meet with my scrapbooking blog. And then I just kept going with it. And a few years ago, a little while after we moved from New Jersey out to Michigan, I found the most amazing neurologist, and I went into her office. I'm going to point out, yes, it was a female neurologist, and I think that had a lot to do with how she was so amazing. Walked into her office. I spent 5 minutes telling her what's wrong, and half of that was like, me went to this doctor, went to this doctor, went to this doctor. They couldn't do anything. And she's like, oh, I think that's because you have 2 different types of headaches, and here's what they are. And it was one of the most like light bulb, life-changing moments, because instead of trying to attack one problem, we were able to split the problems and attack them separately. And now I have a life that I can, I have a beautiful studio back here. I get to do live art every day. And while I had been building up my side hustle throughout the sick days, and, I still get really bad headaches when the weather changes. And so having a job where I can, work when I can, some days I can put in 10 or 12 hours because, I'll do like 4 hours of creative stuff, and then I'll get on the computer and want to do like connecting with everybody because it's so fun to connect with different artists around the world.
Yeah.
And, by the end of the day, especially now when it doesn't get dark out until 10 p.m. here in Michigan, it's so easy for me to stay at my desk until 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that is not always the case. Sometimes I get done the bare minimum, and then I just have to chill for the day. And I think having a chronic illness, being someone who has a problem that isn't necessarily solvable, is something that is really interesting in a creative. It forces you to come at your art problems in a different way.
Just a second, because you're going into some real juicy stuff, but I want to bring in another viewer aspect to get the viewers totally hooked into you. So first of all, you have mentioned 2 important things already. One is scrapbooking, and one is feminism.
Yes.
Boy, I can't even talk this morning. Being a feminist, okay? So I'm a scrapbooker. I was a creative memories consultant for years back in the 90s. And so I was talking with Lauren. I said, oh, I got to go count how many scrapbooks, traditional, proverbial
12 by 12, big ones. Yep.
12 by 12, and so I have an album size, and so I have 22 of those.
Nice.
I, segued off and just went all into art journaling, but that's a whole different nutshell, So, and I'm a feminist. I'm a goddess worshiper. I am a well-known goddess worshiper. I write books and have been in the community since '89. So, and I'm a feminist, of course. So tell me what your handle is on identifying your scrapbooking business, sharing, offering to the world, the community, with the word feminist. How are you tagging that together? What's the heart of it? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So one of the things is that the scrapbooking world has not always been very kind to people that don't fit a certain mold. Scrapbooking traditionally has been done by the mom of the family, when the dad goes off to work, and you scrapbook all the kids. And when I got into scrapbooking, I was still in high school. So I quickly made friends with some of the other people who were doing not kids scrapbooking or not family scrapbooking. And being in this industry for so long, seeing what the societal expectations are of people who scrapbook, seeing which scrapbook influencers get more attention than others, just who is elevated in status. And a lot of just, regular everyday women, and a lot of unique women, they're just excluded because they don't have that picket fence lifestyle. And then because you're scrapbooking the photos of your house, your life, if you live in a small apartment, or if you don't have kids, or if you're gay, if you are queer, however you identify, if you don't identify as that, suburban mom scrapbooking those things, then it's not nearly as welcoming. And it has gotten so much better over the years, especially through the pandemic. There was a lot more people listening to how there's been some exclusion in the scrapbooking world. And
the world in general.
Mhm.
well, I'm so glad that you said it. Because I think that's the other thing, is that people need to know that their stories matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your life looks like. It doesn't matter if you are experiencing houselessness, if you have a chronic illness. It doesn't matter if you have 15 kids. It doesn't matter if you have, a blended family, whatever your life looks like, your story is worth telling. And going through that chronic illness where I literally couldn't get off the couch for like months at a time.
Mm.
I still forced myself to document little bits of my story. And it feels so good now, because looking back on it, it's like, wow, that really was hard. I wasn't, I'm not just reimagining it being hard in the back of my head. And so I want to make sure that everybody knows, especially those who have been marginalized, that their story matters.
Yeah,
Right.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
So that's why documenting your life is so important for you, I guess. Yeah.
It's a huge thing. And it started all out because my grandmother really liked taking pictures. And so we would go on adventures, and I'd have my disposable cameras, and she'd have, whatever camera that she had. I have a whole collection of her old cameras in my library, and it is like one of my favorite things. So eventually I wanted to just, put some words to the pictures. And then it just
Took off.
when you find an art, you can find all of the little niches and make it really yours.
Oh yeah, and as a creative, you dive totally into it, and you just naturally broaden it. I mean, my scrapbooking, yes, I had a child, my only child, so I was really focused on him in our life, but I was doing my husband and I's backstory when we were kids. And then I had a company at that time called Fairy Dance Tours, and I took small groups on sacred pilgrimage to Ireland, because one of my fortes is the fairy faith. And so some of my scrapbooks became nothing but Ireland, and then
Yeah.
turned into photo books. So that was a cool segue too. So yeah, so I'm going to ask you what your favorite all-time, and it doesn't have to be creative memory, because I'm not a consultant. I haven't been a consultant there for like 20 years plus, but what is your all-time favorite scrapbooking supply that you want around you whenever you're going to create?
Oh my God. Okay. So
It doesn't have to be just one, but
there are a few that I think are like really essential for me. One of them is, do I have it? Okay. Yeah. I'm going to turn a little bit. There we go. It's that big pink adhesive gun back there.
yep.
Oh, yes.
I got one on a retreat that I went to when I was 21. I had a really great scrapbook forum friends that I was interested in college. We all got along really well. And every year we'd have a retreat in the middle of Wisconsin. And these had just come out. So somebody ordered a case, brought them to the retreat, and everyone got one. And it made the best picture ever, by the way. But yeah, I cannot live without that. I go through so much adhesive, and that is good adhesive, and it is cheaper than all of the tape runners. And because I'm doing little, notebooks, and I'm doing things every day, I don't like using wet adhesive. So dry adhesive for me, and that is so good, and it lasts so long. And there is a little bit of a learning curve, but there's a little bit of a learning curve to everything.
To everything. While you're talking, I'm going to share my desktop, because I'm going to bring up one of your pages that you sent to us.
Cool.
so so our viewers can really tune in on that and see it. So here we go. This is a pretty cool picture, and this is scrapbooking at its finest. It's really
Thank you.
scrapbooking at its finest. So I love this picture because, I mean, for you, when, as a viewer of your work, the personal element of that's you, right?
Yep.
Yeah, of you being right in there and then sharing your thoughts and about learning, and then sharing I'm assuming those are some of your scrapbooks right there.
Yeah, those are scrapbooks and a bunch of journals, and
Yeah.
that actually might be my blank journal shelf.
Yep. Yep. And I love here's my all-time favorite aspect of this. I love seeing your little toes.
I really love including like little toe selfies in places, or shoe selfies, it's another way to say, hey, I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And personalizes it.
It's exactly. It gets so personal when you bring in the funny little off.
Yeah, it really shows your personality, I think.
Thank you.
So you sent also 3 pictures, and I'm going to bring them up, and I thought maybe, and I might be sharing them in the wrong order, but I thought it would be cool if you sort of explained them to our viewers, which, by the way, hi viewers, welcome to today's art talk with ruKristin Tweedale from Awesome Ladies. She is an Awesome Ladies, and we have about 147 viewers right now tuned in, so it's nice
Fantastic.
to see you all. And don't forget, if you have a question for her, you can pop it right into the Twitch chat, but you have to be a follower in order to do that. Sorry about that if you're just viewing. All right, let me pull up this first one. So I'm going to come to, I got to share my desktop. Oh, I'm going to share this one first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's involved.
There's lots going on in that picture.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite ways to tell stories. I love taking a picture of just just stuff, just I have one that I did of me in the bathroom brushing my teeth in one of my albums too, that's like this. And you see a picture, and like when there's so much stuff in a picture, you're like, why are we looking at this picture? And so oh no, it's totally good. And so I took these little puffy numbers and I put them all around the different places in the photo, so I could tell little stories about all of the different things in this photo that I probably would never wind up creating a full page about. Like the number 3 over in the left-hand side is on my wall of Post-its, which every day I love, I just write down my notes on Post-its. And when I made that one, at the end of the day, at the end of the week, I would just put the ones over here that didn't matter anymore. And I'm not going to create a scrapbook page around that whole thing. It's not a huge deal. And so this is the front page of this little insert here in the middle, because I wanted the photo to stand on its own. I wanted you to be able to see everything in the photo. I didn't want to really cover anything up in the photo. So I wanted to create this little insert in the middle so I could talk about, why does my space look like this?
All right, let me bring up that picture. Hold on a second. That's the one, I think it looks like this. Let's see. With the watercolors. Is this?
Yeah, and so the story that I tried to tell about this this whole page, this was a prompt for our Book of Me class over at the Awesome Ladies Project. And the assignment was work/play.
Okay.
And so I wanted to couch the stories of play inside the bigger work area because all of my play happens back here.
Yeah.
And so having this little insert in the middle of this, you know, the watercolor pan that I made with the little white space to do all of the journaling made it really easy to talk about, like, well, here's how I play. I play in the exact same space that I work. And
Yeah.
so to juxtapose the different ideas that happen in this space, I use that little insert so
Oh, yeah.
that
Very cool. That's a very, very cool way of doing it. Now, is that particular spread 3 pages?
yes. So it's a 6x8 photo on the right, a 6x8 photo on the left, and then the inserts were 3x8 page protectors.
Right down the middle of it?
Right down the middle.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned play earlier and work. And one of the things that we know is that we learn so much just through play, like children do. So what have you learned about yourself through this work play dichotomy?
That it's okay to screw up. Like, that's the biggest thing. It's okay. Like, have a place where you can just, you know, sandbox. Where it's not about, and this has been a thing, you know, I think this is a thing like with a lot of art and specifically scrapbooking, is that you don't ever really practice scrapbooking. You don't really ever have a place where you can take all your little scrapbook supplies and just have fun with them. And so you can see on the screen right now is one of my daily pages. This is how I play. Every day I open up one of my little notebooks, I have them, you know, and then I just make something. Sometimes it's a very scrapbook forward page. Sometimes it's just me playing with stickers and stamps. I love stamps. I love stamps so much. They're that's my little, you know, pie piece of scrapbooking is the stamping area. And stamps can be intimidating, especially when you are doing them on like important scrapbook pages about important stories that you care about. And so I found like I wasn't using my supplies. I wasn't using my stamps specifically because I was getting a little anxious about using them for the first time on something cool. And then I started stamping in my daily pages books, and stamping then became just this simple, easy thing that I was doing all the time. And sometimes I screw up. Sometimes I screw up a lot. I think I don't have a book with me right now. I think it's back there because I was working on it. Sometimes I just do the whole page upside down. It happens.
It happens.
It happens.
So do you make your own your own stamps? Have you started making your own stamps?
Yep, I have a bunch of stamps. They're all available at the Awesome Ladies Project shop. Some of them are about the different challenges that we do at the Awesome Ladies Project, like daily pages. And then I also have a list journaling challenge called Currently List and a selfie challenge called Thursday 3. Made stamps for both of those to make it super easy to document. And then I've got some feminist stamps and some shape stamps, the things that I love the most.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm going to share something here. I'm going to, again, share my desktop, and we are going to take a look at a gift that this wonderful, awesome lady is offering everyone, but you have to hop on it. You have to hop on it because it happens tomorrow. So tell us about this.
So I have been using Canva for my business since, I think I literally just looked back at my my billing because I wanted to know. I think I've been using it since October of 2015. I just love the user interface. I love the drag and drop. It reminds me a lot of MS Publisher that I used back in high school. And I have never really been that much of a digital scrapbooker until Canva made some upgrades, and now you can do layers in Canva. You can put things on, you know, your photos, your frames, your journaling. And over the summer, I have been creating a digital memory album in Canva.
Nice.
And it has helped me so much. I'm taking more pictures because I know I have a place I can put them. I don't have to worry about they're going to go on the, you know, big pile of photos to scrapbook. They can go right in this little memory journal. I can add my little, lists. I can put in screenshots, what happened in the world today. And I get to have this really easy way to document my everyday stories, which in the summer I absolutely need, because
Mhm.
after a daily page in the summer, my creative energy is not. It is not the time for me to be creative. The summer is not my creative artsy season.
Oh,
It is my tech season.
what month is your birthday?
January.
Oh, yeah. So are you Capricorn?
Aquarius.
Oh, you're Aquarius. Okay. Yeah. So, in astrology, that is our downtime, our opposition, the opposition 6 months, earlier. That's our quiet time. So you're right. You're dialed into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Learning to live in seasons has been really important to, like, both me personally and then also documenting, because
Mhm.
there are seasons of our life, our lives where it's easy to fill up a whole scrapbook of all the things you're doing because you have that creative energy, you have the time, there's no crises going on in your life. And sometimes you don't have time for that. And it's not because you're not trying, it's because everything else in life is pushing back on you, whether it's, family stuff, whether it's health stuff, whether it's work stuff, whether it's just, living life stuff. Sometimes you don't have as much creative energy. And in learning to look at things in seasons, for me, I don't want to say I don't ever, ever, ever feel, but I
So,
very rarely feel that I'm going to be stuck in a slump forever.
yeah. Yeah. That's
Mm.
so right on. Lauren and I have been working with our moon sign and working through the moon signs this year, also with regards to our artistic flow. And, when it's the high, when it's the low, when it's the complicated, when, how to use that moon
Mm.
and really dive deep into it. So whether it's
Interesting.
the moon or whether it's the season,
Yeah.
it's
Just to go back a little bit, Kristen, you talked about daily pages. Can you tell us a little bit more in depth about how that happens? What is your routine and how those pages come about?
Yeah. So this was a habit that I started when I had absolutely no creative time at all. And then I still had deadlines that I needed to get done. And I found that when I would go to my desk and try to work on a project, it would take like way too long because I was like rusty and out of shape and anxious about it. So I said, you know what, I have a million little notebooks. I'm going to grab a notebook and every day I'm just going to do something in it. Whether that's put a sticker down, whether that's do some journaling, whatever it is, I'm just going to find some time, and it could be literally 2 minutes. And a
Mm.
lot of the time back then, it was literally 2 minutes because I was in a bunch of events that were happening, family stuff's happening. And that's when your creative energy does not really, flow as well as you like. And so what I found was that if I spent a little bit of time every day, sometimes just cutting out paper, sometimes doing stencils with ink, sometimes, I have little journaling cards that I filled out. I showed you guys this one. I have little photos on my desk. It was a really great way to play and practice at the same time. I could
Mm.
practice with all of these stamps that I was getting or the new supplies, and I could just open them up, and it didn't matter, like, because these are just little pages and they're for me, if somebody comes over and wants to see my scrapbooks, they're not gonna, this is not what they want to see. But this for me means that when I go to make my actual my actual real scrapbook pages, that I feel so much more confident
Mm.
in both like technical aspects, like I know how this stamp is going to work,
mhm.
but also in who I am and what my style is right now, because I create every day. And so I never feel like, oh, am I being inauthentic to myself? Because I have this habit of making something every day. So I can just very quickly like be like, oh no, this is exactly what your style is, lots of rainbows, lots of different things. And just having this little habit makes it so much easier to do all of the other heavy lifting.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is that what you're sharing with us also, I'm a painter, and so my daily practice, I call them daily doodles. And I
Yep,
have a little journal, and it's just trying out different things, exploring different things, different mediums, different tools,
exactly.
techniques. Yeah. So that when I'm ready to go to a larger substrate, whether it is in an art journal or a canvas, um, I can pull from it. So I believe you're incorporating art practice into your scrapbooking, which is very cool. And you share that, right? You share doing a daily practice with your community.
Yep, inside Feminist Scrapbook School, we have daily pages every day, Monday through Friday, from noon till about noon 30, noon 45, 1 o'clock, depending on how long it takes me to finish and then how many people in community want to share. But it is one of those things where, if you are a member, you can drop in whatever time you want at 12. It's not like there's no class, there's no attendance. We just want you to get whatever you can out of it. If it's to watch me, awesome. If it's to have company, so you have the accountability of making your own something during the day. If it's because you want to share with the community, whatever it is, that's all there. And I encourage people to, pick and choose what works for them.
Yeah, studio time, I think open studio time like that is so important. I'm
Yeah.
just doing a quick check-in, a tune in to our viewers out there in Twitch viewer land. We see you, I see you, 145 strong, all of you tuned in and viewing us, and that is so wonderful. I also want to just take a moment for the individuals who have followed Visionary Artist Path during this episode. Thank you for the follow. And I'm going to do a little pitch. I need one more follower to get to that 620 mark. So if one more viewer out there in viewerland just goes up and clicks that follow button, you are a rock star today. So, and we are here with ruKristin from the Awesome Ladies Project. And so don't forget, if you are a follower, you can pop a question into our stream chat. So Kristin, I have another question for you. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Well, here is my comment. I think, first of all, what you're offering is just so profound because it's a niche. You have provided this wonderful space for people who want to scrap. I mean, I love scrapbooking. I think scrapbooking is awesome. I haven't done a scrapbook for a lot of years, but because I bring photographs into my art journals, it's a segue. It's the blending, it's the merging, and you're doing that too. So there, scrapbooking, art journaling, it really all blends together. Travel logs, those of you who do travel logs, you're doing scrapbooking. You're doing scrapbooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime I have a nice big event, I always remind people, you're already scrapbooking your life. Like, do you have social media with pictures and captions? That's a little scrapbook of your life. Do you, have you saved all of your receipts somewhere? That is, getting memorabilia and having primary documents in your life. And a lot of my pages are very art journaling. A lot of them, like this one that I showed earlier, it's just, it's just ink and stenciling.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is what I want to do that day. I want to practice either playing with a stencil, or I want to check out, like, how do these colors go together, and do like a little color study, and having a place.
Hold that up again. I spotlit you, so you're big.
So I have one of these.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah.
And then I love doing
Nice.
You'll see lots of rainbows in my work. I love color, and I don't have a favorite color. I just love all of them. So lots of rainbows. And then every Monday I do a currently list, and I've been doing this, I think, since 2007. I think that's right. And it just fill out this list of, like, what am I watching, reading, listening to, making, feeling, planning, loving. And it's an easy segue into the week.
Oh yeah, nice.
yeah, since I don't do daily pages on the weekends, sometimes Monday morning I wake up and I'm like, I have no idea what I want to do. So no matter what, I do my little list, and then nothing else really matters. If I feel like doing like something cool like this one, then I do it.
Yeah.
And I can always, just slap my little journaling card on there. But having this prompt of what I'm going to do on Mondays makes like cruising into the art week so much earlier.
Okay, so you have this. So let's say you just made this on Monday of this week. Okay, this page. Let's say you just created that for this week where you're at on Monday. Now, would you go back to that and you've got it by day or by category? Okay, yeah. So now would you go back in, would you use this as a tool during the course of
The
the week?
time.
Yeah, exactly.
All the time. And it's so great to go back through some of these and remember that you watched a show that you completely forgot existed. Be like,
Yeah.
oh, I watched and it was important enough for me to write it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really fun to just discover, these little parts of you that
Yeah.
disappear after a little while.
It really is a personal history.
Yeah.
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 It's-
Lovely.
It's a personal history, and like you said, it's your story. It's your personal story that you're charting and
Mhm.
keeping track of. I mean, it is a diary. Our journals are diaries, whether it's scrapbooking, art journal, travel journal, smash,
Absolutely.
whatever. It is a diary, a creative's diary.
Mhm.
So I think that's pretty awesome.
Mhm.
Now, let me do a quick little time check here. We are coming up on the last, the home stretch of our episode. These go by so fast. I
Yeah.
have another, I think I have another picture here I wanted to share, but it might take me a minute to pull. Oh, I guess what did I do with it?
Maybe while you're looking for that, I can ask Kristen a question.
Perfect.
I'm really curious, Kristen, on who or what are your inspirations? What keeps you going and inspires you on a regular basis?
So you mentioned this in my bio, but like television,
Okay.
I love television, and I love television that tells stories in interesting ways. And I love to find ways to bring in like there was a show on Apple last year, it's coming back this year, it's called The After Party, and each episode was a different genre of television and the person was telling the same story. And so taking that and like finding different perspectives to tell the exact same story from, and saying like, oh, that's really interesting. And one of my favorite scrapbookers and like people in the whole world is Allie Edwards. She's amazing. She's just a great person. She makes really good scrapbook stuff, and she's all about telling your story. So this combination of, all this art that's out in the world, any kind of color, I am always inspired by just humans being cool.
Mhm.
Whether that's, stuff that you see in the museum. Like my favorite place in the entire world is the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. Like that's, if I could live in a place, that's where I would live. And then also just tiny little intimate gatherings of humans.
Mhm.
There's a tribute to your rainbow love of color.
Yes. And I love that. This is actually one of my favorite pages. I love it because it's just kind of cool. Like the different mulberry papers, you can see the textures in them, and then stamping the rainbows, but not putting the actual colors in, and letting that kind of like see through, and then just adding some more black. I'm a huge fan of like color and then like big black bold things. That is very much who I am.
Yeah, I think this one I want to share also, because it's what I'm sensing. This is really all about for you, and we hope for everybody who does this kind of work. But it's all about the personal truths.
Yeah, this is a fun one. This is an older one. This is from a couple of years ago in one of my Book of Me's. And it was just really, it was fun to just do things a little differently. Like I don't normally cut out pictures of myself and put them on the side, but just having that over there and then using the rest of the space to create this rainbow bit of journaling. And like I screwed up in somewhere in the orange text, you could see that I crossed something out. But like
Yeah, right here, right here.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter because that's real.
Right.
That's real. And that's what's so cool about our pages, right? Is they're real. We toss around the word authentic, right? But it really is about just being real.
Yeah.
It's
Being
be
human.
yourself. Yeah, be human. I love that page because you're reminding everybody also, love yourself. If you don't love yourself, nobody else is going to love you. I mean, your mom and your dad will because it's their job. But, you know, the self-love, I think it's very cool that you pulled out a cropped picture of yourself. And
Yeah.
Thank you.
and then wrote, love yourself. Love
Yeah.
yourself and be kind. Be kind to yourself. People beat themselves up so much. So this has nothing to do with our talk today, but it does. Back in the 80s, there was a real popular book called A Course of Miracles. Okay, I'm not religious, but being a goddess worshiper, I sort of stayed on top of what the church themes were out there because you get hit with those, right? And Marianne Williamson, I don't know if you know who she is, but she wrote a book about, on the Course of Miracles. And one of the most important things that really comes out of all of that, right? Being a miracle worker, because I think miracles are a daily occurrence. And I think we use the term, I think religion has stolen the word miracle from just us, is seen, and so we use magic instead, right? Magic is a daily occurrence, but as women, as feminists in a world where we're surrounded by all kinds of crazy, even today, even though we've come really far, is that sense of, you know what, treat yourself the kindest, treat yourself kinder than you treat anybody else, because if you can do it here, it just goes out there automatically. It just becomes your daily vibe. And so I love this one. I'm bringing it up again because I love it so much. I think it's really, really fantastic. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Right there. And I love this too. Listening is more important than talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Learning how to listen is just really important. It makes you a better talker.
It does, yeah.
And so like if you want to be good at talking, listen to other people do it and like
Yeah.
really understand, like, what is that person trying to say? And
Yeah.
like what is the communication that we have together? And you cannot be a good communicator if you are only output. If you can't do input, then you're failing at half of it.
Yeah, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. Yeah. Hey, so I have to ask you this. So on that personal truth, you say breakfast is the most important meal. Was that mom?
That was the neurologist.
Okay, very cool. Well, okay. She became like mom for you, right?
She's like, oh my God. Yeah. And then I would, I have little things that I've made. So I brought them to her. She gives them to her kids and she tells me about how like her kids are super feminist. And it's just
I love that.
like, everybody has like their top 5 people who have like impacted their life. She is absolutely in my top 5. Like,
Yeah.
She's great.
Well, we're down to that last question time. Lauren, do you have one?
Last question.
Last question. I mean, I could keep going. I could keep going.
I guess maybe just to wrap things up and to bring everything together is, what does living a creative life mean to you?
That's a really great question. One, it has to mean being open. And 2, it has to mean being able to express yourself in non-traditional ways. And
Mm.
whatever that means for you, maybe you take pictures, maybe you do poetry, maybe you write novels or novelettes, or, maybe whatever it is.
Mm.
It's this ability to, or this desire, because it doesn't matter what your skill is. You don't have to be skilled to live a creative life. You just have to be open to also seeing things from different perspectives, because that is going to help you develop who you are creatively. Because
Right.
creative people are not stagnant. Creative people are constantly moving. They're constantly going from project, and whether it's project to project, or craft to craft, or idea to idea, the mind and the heart of someone living a creative life has to be open to possibilities that could then make them not necessarily a better creative, because I don't necessarily think that's a thing, but it can make them more in tune to who they want to be and how they want to express themselves creatively.
Oh,
Right.
that's beautiful. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my friends, thank you so much for being here today. This has been just a fabulous experience. And even though Are You Kristen is going to depart, Lauren and I are going to clue you in on some upcoming things. So thank you again. It was wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much, friends. This was absolutely wonderful. I'll talk to you soon.
Very insightful. Thank you.
So we are excited to share with you also our plans for our August art talk, because it's going to be here literally in the blink of an eye. And so on August 3rd, we will have Kat Geller here in the studio with us. She is the founder of Cosmic Smash Booking, and so far we've gone through art journaling, we've gone through scrapbooking, and now we're going to go through smash booking, and then we're going to just mush them all together. No, what she's saying. But and then of course we'll have other guests coming in the future. But that will be right here at the same channel at the same time, the first Thursday of August, August 3rd, for Kat Geller. And let's see, Lauren, do you have anything we want to say to these wonderful people?
Just a thank you to everyone who tunes in, and hopefully you'll tune in again and again and hear the insightful comments of our guests.
Oh yeah, yeah. And boy, let me tell you, this one is a powerhouse. I mean, Kristen shared some really insightful and very poignant statements with us. So we do keep our episodes on our channel as reruns. They're there for not an infinite time, but over the next 2 weeks, especially up to a month sometimes, you have the rerun to come back and watch, and also to share with your friends. So don't hesitate to share. And then the sales pitch for Visionary Artist Path, Twitch TV, is to, of course, follow. We survive on your follows. And for those of you who want to subscribe, it's $4.99 a month, and you help to feed us. And we also have special events for subscribers. So I think that's about it, but you don't have to subscribe. Just you being here viewing is enough. But follow. Push that follow button right now. Anyways, and again, Lauren, it's always wonderful to share this time with you. And I'm so happy we're co-hosts on this. So, all right. Hey, listen, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your week.
Yes. Enjoy the sun.
Enjoy the sun. So we'll see you next time. We'll see you
Next month.
Next time. All right. So.
Thank you, Kisma.
Thank you, Lauren. You are awesome.
There we go. Okay.
Bye, everyone.